Hey, what's up, everybody? It is Zach, and I had some thoughts that I wanted to give about Deadpool and Wolverine for a little while now. And it's actually been quite a few weeks since I've seen the movie, but I still want to get my thoughts out about them despite it being so long now. And I'm not going to evade from going over what could potentially be classified as spoiler material because it's kind of hard to talk about this movie without going into spoilers, like all the cameos and so forth, for example. And there's going to be no particular structure to this. I'm just going to tackle my opinions about this movie rather haphazardly. So, to sum up, it's a fun movie where Hugh Jackman as Wolverine is basically the best character, but it's a movie that's really story lacking and over reliant on cameos and nostalgia trips in various ways outside of that of actual MCU movies, even for that matter. I mean, obviously, this movie, since Disney has bought out Fox and has the rights to most Marvel characters now, they decided to bring in characters from movies that they did not even make, like Blade and Elektra and so forth, for example. And the cameos, let me tell you, in my opinion, they got kind of overbearing at times. Like, there was some of them that I liked. I mean, it was nice to see Wesley Snipes back as Blade, and I did get a kick out of Chris Evans coming back as Johnny Storm. That was a hoot. And Deadpool just kind of poking fun at Chris Evans because Chris, like the one comment where he says, "You were never my favorite Chris anyways. I always thought you were the worst Chris," whatever the exact line was. That was funny. Also him pointing out how Chris Evans, Johnny Storm, was like a loudmouth before Deadpool was ever the token big loudmouth of Marvel properties in Hollywood, at least, anyways. That was fun, and a lot of people say that the beginning of the movie is like the strongest point, but I kind of like the middle points of the movie. Like after Deadpool actually meets up with Wolverine and they go into Act 2 of the movie, that's when I like the movie the best. When that Deadpool and Wolverine, they were like fighting each other. Yeah, I got a bit of a kick out of that. And of course, obviously, what am I trying to say here? The first act, probably one of the reasons why I did not like it is because the crude humor got a little bit too obnoxious, in my opinion. Like, there was one part in particular, of where that Deadpool was suiting up, and he was being suited up by this one TVA assistant guy, and the guy they just keep on like shooting back to this one part of where the suitor, whatever, the dresser, whatever you want to call him, he was helping to suit him up, and this one shot that they kept on going back to, of where that he would like zip up the crotch piece and like pat him on the crotch, and I was all like, oh, how many times do I have to see that? Like, seriously. And then Deadpool comes out all suited out and goes making a comment, your dresser is a predator, and I like that. It's like, what are you trying to say, Disney? What you're trying to say is, the beginning parts, the beginning act of the movie, especially all the crude humor, got a little obnoxious for me personally. But it was by the second act, really, of when that things got better with the action and so forth. And honestly, I cannot pin down exactly how it is, but Deadpool, honestly, was at his most dislikable, in my opinion. Out of all three Deadpool movies, I liked him less as a person in this one as compared to the first two. And like I said, Wolverine was the best character in my opinion, not only because of it, being Hugh Jackman coming back in as the role. I guess another thing I should mention about first act, another reason why I did not really care for the first act is when that Deadpool was digging up the bones of Logan from, the Logan movie, because at the end of that movie, we all know Wolverine dies in that movie. I did not have that big of an issue because ultimately the movie was at least self-aware enough to know that, hey, we're not trained to play this up seriously. This is all just fun and jokes, and it's all like okay, whatever, but I still don't care for it. And that was another thing that made me not care so much for the first act. So, getting on with Wolverine, though, back onto Wolverine, anyways. Just to see Wolverine also play the straight man to everybody else's weirdness and eccentricism, especially Deadpool's. That helped add to the likability of Wolverine a bit. What am I trying to say? A lot of other people seem to have liked Paradox, the actor in particular for Paradox, who I guess is kind of the main villain of the movie. I did not really care for him. He was like a little bit too over the top and megalomaniacal for my taste. I honestly liked the Xavier the twin sister of Xavier better as a main villain. She was a rather intimidating, unstoppable force for that Deadpool and Wolverine both had to defeat. Of course, there was other multiple fun jokes and banters between all the characters, especially the titular Deadpool and Wolverine. I will say, getting into the third act, though, I did not really care for that end fight scene when it was them versus all the multiverse Deadpools. I will say that there was one line that Deadpool said to all the other Deadpools: "Look, multiverse is not working," as a bit of meta commentary on how that Disney's Marvel is having an over-reliance on the multiverses. I mean, questionable as to whether or not that is a statement, a serious statement that, hey, we're going to lay off multiverse, or if they were just saying that to kind of poke fun at themselves. But hey, we're still going to rely on multiverse. And because this movie, which is heavily reliant on multiverse shenanigans, it profited very well. It's made over $1 billion now. Maybe that's a sign that to themselves that they will just continue making movies, MCU movies that heavily rely on multiverse. And but yeah, I did not really care for the end battle scene because it felt like that there was no stakes, especially when after Deadpool and Wolverine like defeat all the other Deadpools, all the evil Deadpools, I guess we can just call them, or whatever, they all heal up. So that fight kind of lacked stakes. I mean, it's seeing Deadpool and Wolverine fight each other was fun enough in its own right, despite the fact that they were able to have infinite healing. So I can see how people would like point that out as a bit of quote-unquote hypocrisy on my end. But I guess the thing with me is that with Deadpool and Wolverine, they're like the protagonists, and I don't typically expect that a couple of the main protagonists in a movie to actually kill each other. If they do fight each other, well then, hey, that just adds to the tension of the movie overall, but it's not like that normally they have to kill each other. But when it comes to the said protagonist having to kill a bunch of minions, which I guess is, in my opinion, how I can sum up all the bad Deadpools, is kind of a bunch of minions. And to see them not actually die and just at the end get all healed up and then not really get defeated. They just get all entranced by this one friend of Deadpool's called Peter. That was weird. Yeah. And also in the third act there was the whole tie-in of the multiverse, having to save all the multiverses out there. And the way that they do it is they go to the TVA multiverse destroyer machine, whatever that Paradox invented, and they tried to shut that down to save all the multiverses and so forth. So the stakes are rather high, and that's a thing that gets really overbearing with MCU movies. Other smarter and more on-track movie reviewers have stated it before, stated it better than I have. That's a thing that's getting old with Marvel, is that they're like putting too much stakes in all their movies. Like Eternals, for example, world-ending event. Why didn't other Marvel Avengers like come in helping with them and all that other jazz? And this movie definitely suffers in that kind of case right there. That kind of syndrome, I guess you could call it, is too high stakes syndrome. And I don't even think that Deadpool and Wolverine was like that self-aware about the humor of that side of their story. So yeah, it's pretty story weak. A lot of other people say that this is like a MCU, like picking themselves back up on their feet. I mean, in my opinion, it kind of might just be a fluke, honestly. Just like how Guardians Volume 3 was a fluke. Although I will say, admittedly, that Guardians Volume 3, I like that a bit better. And Deadpool Wolverine, I don't hate it, I just don't like it as much as a lot of other people, though. Like, in my opinion, it's a 5 out of 10 movie as compared to Wakanda Forever, the Black Widow movie, Eternals, Shang-Chi, all those other movies that are like ranging 3s and 4s, maybe 2s out of 10s, whereas Deadpool Wolverine is just a 5 out of 10 for me. It's kind of, is entertaining enough, but overall my opinion is ultimately meh. Probably won't ever go back to watch it again. So that was my thoughts anyways. I'm going to wrap this up right now. Watch it if you want to, but if you don't watch it, honestly, you're probably not missing a whole lot. And it probably doesn't matter anyways because it's so late in the game and a lot of other people have watched it already. Oh well. But that was my thoughts anyways. Thank you all for watching. Have a good day. Bye-bye.